What's going on, y'all? We are having less than a stellar time here in Jacksonville, Florida at Catherine Abbey Hanna Park. You see all these beautiful trees. It is such a gorgeous campsite, but with a lot of trees comes a lot of obstacles for when you're trying to back in your RV. And with obstacles comes things like potentially damaging your RV. I'm shocked I'm smiling right now because when this happened yesterday, I was not smiling. I was near tears. I messed up. Tanya hasn't been feeling well. She's been having a little bit of knee problem. We've been trying to let her rest, and I thought, I got this. I can do this without my better half helping guide me in. I was wrong. We happened to catch tail swing on a post. I'll show you the post in just a moment.
That panel just fell off.
Molokai and a roller coaster fell behind me.
So with the drawer open, you can see light shining.
You can see here damage all the way up, about halfway up the panel. You can kind of see a wrinkle, and it goes all the way down to like a tear right there. We have Legos on the ground. Legos down! Legos down! Thankfully, we don't have any electrical issues, even though wires are showing, have plopped down. This panel comes off. That was already loose. But thankfully, the camera, everything still works. This power still works. Yeah, I'm not having a good day. So let's go over what to do when this happens. So one of the first things that happens when you have an accident is you're typically, there's going to be some emotions involved. When there are emotions involved, a lot of times we start making mistakes. That's why it's a good idea for you to practice, go over in your head the things that you need to do. Thankfully, I have a series of friends that are involved in the RV life, and I started going through who should I talk to first? Who knows things? And the first thing I did was I texted Bill and Natasha of Nursing Our Travel Bug. They had some great tips. Of course, one of the things they said is, hey, make a YouTube video out of it so you can help others understand. Great idea. I think it was Bill that said that. Thank you, Bill. From there, their advice was, hey, we know some certified technicians that are within our circle of friends. Why don't you call them and see their advice? Do we want to try to get it fixed? Will it cost too much? Or do we need to start by calling the insurance company? Should we talk to Rocky at RV Kids TV? Or possibly Garrett over at Diary of a Family? They're both certified RV technicians. There's also Scott from Jarhead and Ginger's Journey. They've all been through some training on how to repair things. I chose to call Rocky, and one of the reasons was I've already hired Rocky to inspect this RV before we bought it. So he knows this RV. So I thought, well, if he'll accept my call, then I'll call Rocky first. He knows the situation somewhat, and we'll go from there. So I called Rocky. Now, one of the good things about contacting your friends are your friends aren't going to be as emotional. So having those friends, sorry, there's a mosquito. Having those friends that know about this situation that aren't as emotional, they can kind of help guide you through it. Unless you're a calm-headed person, I was emotional. I'm sorry. You know what? I cry at sad movies. Kaylin laughs at me. I was emotional. I messed up. and I felt really bad about it. Anyway, back to getting this done. So Rocky said, start with the insurance company. Start your claim with Progressive. The sooner the better, because since we're mobile and we're hopping around, we're going to want to get this thing fixed up as soon as possible. I was able to use Progressive's online site, got everything submitted, was able to upload my own photos, basically put in my testimony of what had happened, and then they said by the close of the next business day, someone will call you. Some people may think, oh, well, you should call them to get a ball rolling. You can do that, but I've had enough experience with this kind of stuff to know that that's not necessarily true, because if you call someone, they're going to create a ticket that's going to go to an adjuster that better understands your situation. That person may not be on duty yet. So it kind of goes the same. If you submit it online, you're kind of cutting out the middleman right there. You're able to go ahead and put that in yourself. I was impressed because 9 a.m. the next morning on the dot, I got a call from Progressive from was it the adjuster? No, they all have technical terms. So talking to Progressive, they basically took my statement again verbally, and then we just discussed what was needed, where we're at as far as to, since we do full-time in the RV, where we're headed, all those types of things, so we could kind of narrow down what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and where it needs to be done. From there, then they gave my information over to a local appraiser. That was Chris. Chris actually came by here. He's been by here twice now. In fact, while I was filming the video, poof, he came back and we actually plastic wrapped the opening right here. He went by a body shop for cars and got this stuff called crash wrap that's got an adhesive that won't leave a sticky residue, allow water to get in, and it gets us good to go until tomorrow, when a mobile repair tech is going to come out and help us try to get this all fixed up. Obviously, this is just the beginning. We don't know until more can be done, but eventually we'll want to get this thing into a dealership, have them take off the entire back, see how bad the damage is, and determine, can it be repaired in a more professional manner, or are they going to need to order a whole new cap? And then we also discussed, would it be good to have that done here in Florida? Would it be better to wait until we got back to Texas to have that all done? Or, because one of the things that was discussed was getting the parts, getting this entire wall shipped. In the past, they've had experiences where the entire large piece was shipped from Indiana down, and it was damaged by the time it was ready to be put on. It raises another problem. So then I was like, well, what if we just get it temporarily fixed, and from there, maybe next spring when it's warmer out, head up to Indiana and have it done at the factory? Would Progressive pay for that? And he said, yes, they would. So that's something for us to think about and discuss. We will work up towards that and see where we go with that. Here is the post that I came in contact with. So that wasn't even a 4x4, more like a 4x6. Look at that dog just laying in the dirt. You silly dog. We love you, Daisy. 9 months later. Still holding up. I would say that Doug did an amazing job of putting this back together. Most people would never know that there was anything wrong unless I told them. I was able to see the line, like where it happened, but right now I'm having a hard time even seeing it. Because the wall was bent, and he bent it back. Yeah, I guess I can kind of see like a little bit of a dent right there. And then where it had cracked a little bit down at the bottom. Right there. I might need to put a little bit more silicone over that. So Progressive took care of us. I would say you're not always going to get the kind of experience you did with Progressive everywhere. This was a matter of the gentleman working for Progressive right there in Jacksonville, Florida, that just so happened to know Doug. Between the two of them, as well as the adjuster that I talked to over the phone, they were amazing. They took amazing care of us. They knew that we live full-time in the RV. That's one of the things, if you're gonna get insurance, if you're gonna live full-time, you need your insurance on the RV to know that you live in it full-time. Because otherwise, it will be cheaper, but when something happens like this, you are going to be stuck in a pickle where they're not gonna care that you are put out of your home for 5 months at a time while it goes into a shop to get fixed. You're gonna get treated differently. When they know, sorry, I've just been playing soccer and volleyball with the girls. When they know that you live in it full time, they are gonna charge you a little extra, but they're gonna give you a different style of treatment because they know that they need to take care of it like where you are. So make sure that your insurance company knows that you live in your RV. I think that if we hadn't met the people that we did with Progressive, it would have been a very different outcome. We were mentally preparing ourselves at that point after the incident in Jacksonville to have to live with my parents in Jacksonville for several months while this went into a body shop to have the whole rear wall replaced. That was where our brains were going. And within 3 to 4 days, we knew that we weren't gonna have to do that. That was an absolute answer to prayer. That was a very low point for us. And after this situation, Tanya she stops herself from asking if she should get out to help. She'll start, should I? And then she just zips it and she gets out to help. No matter what her condition is, she knows that it's just too important to make sure that when we're turning around some tight corners or some trees or some bushes or an RV in a tight corner, she knows, just get out. It's too important to make it safely with our home on wheels around all these corners. So it's been a valuable lesson for us. I definitely wish that it hadn't ever happened in the first place, but it did. And it was definitely a low point. I'll never forget watching the girls' Legos come out of this back wall onto the dirt in the RV park, in the campground. I shed some tears. I took the weight of that entire situation. Like, I went into that situation thinking, I've got this. I don't need anybody else. And therefore, I bore the entire weight of that decision on my shoulders, and I welled up in tears. I was like, I messed up. But that was a very interesting day because we talk about prayer. We always pray before we start our drive. We always ask God to help us with our drive. We ask Him to keep us happy and healthy. We ask Him to send us down the right roads. When we ask God to look out for the truck, the trailer, and the tires, that they don't have any problems while we drive. And that day, I didn't do that. I started my day without praying. Now, Tanya and I have debated over this. It's been an interesting debate. She's like, God's not going to just not protect us. I said, yeah, but here's what happens to me mentally. I started the day thinking, I got this. I finished the day not asking Tanya for help, thinking, I got this. I went through that day with a sense of arrogance, and I failed gloriously. If I would have started my day humbling myself, asking for help, starting by asking God for help, then going to asking my wife for help, that day would have had a very different outcome. So, prayer and reading the Bible can have a very different impact than maybe what you were first thinking. There's my 2 cents. All right, thanks again so much for watching our YouTube videos. I'm sure you're probably watching this video going, oh no, not the RV. We're okay. Remember, life happens. Even tight turns and tail swing. Don't let that stop you. Stay fresh, cheese bags.